Hello, YouTube and vinyl community. I'm Jeff Paris, and welcome to the Vinyl Record Info channel. So today we've got a kind of a cool one. So basically, what I'm going to do is I have 12 different genres picked out, and I'm going to pick one quintessential record to represent each genre. Now, a couple caveats is, you know, it's hard to pick one record to represent each genre. And I'm trying to pick a couple records that I haven't shown before. So there's some I have shown already that maybe I would have chosen. But, this is not all encompassing. Okay? This is just cool stuff I want to show you, basically, picked out in each genre. That's good representation of that genre. So the ones I picked out is 60s rock, 70s rock, hard rock that's contemporary, so 2000s rock, Psyc, Prog, metal, funk, jazz, blues, soul, folk, and country. So I'm going to pick one record from each of those genres, show it to you, and it's kind of like, if you like that genre, you should really pick it up and try to listen to it. Okay, so the first one is rock from the 60s. Now, I could have went with, the Beatles and kind of more pop rocky type of stuff like that. That was a little too obvious, right? I did go with an obvious one, but I didn't want to go Beatles. And maybe I should have. I don't know, but I like this band better than the Beatles. So, all right. So this is "Beggar's Banquet" by the Rolling Stones. This record is so good. I mean, I love the Rolling Stones. It's one of my favorite bands. But "Sympathy for the Devil" is, my kids call it the "Hoo Hoo" song. And they make me play it all the time in the car. But super, super great record. Everybody knows Rolling Stones. They're awesome. Go check them out. But "Beggar's Banquet" is one of my favorite Rolling Stones albums for sure. All right, rock from the 70s. Now, this is one of my favorite albums. I really love this record. I think this is kind of quintessential rock and roll in general. This record is so up my alley that it's incredible. Like, every song on here is just, I love it, and this is exactly what I want for my early 70s rock. This is what I like. This is what I want. And that is Orangutan. So this is Noble Records exclusive, that cool burnt orange wax. But basically, these records are very, very hard to find. They're very expensive now. The promos are going for 600 plus, and the regular original presses are probably $500, depending on the condition. So I got this one. I'm happy with it. So, anyways, this is incredible hard rock. So this is actually a UK band. They were called Hunter. And their, band manager, tale as old as time. They recorded an album. Didn't think anything was going to happen with it. Didn't do well in the UK. Manager went over to America. Made this album art. Renamed the band Orangutan. Put it out. Never told the band. So, ripped off Hunter, the band, the original band, and put this album out under Orangutan. So that was happening all the time back in the 60s and 70s, though. You could hear stories about band managers ripping off their bands all the time. But unbelievable early 70s hard rock. If you like that kind of thing, you're going to love that record. Okay, so we got contemporary rock. Now, people kind of dump on this band a little bit, but this is Greta Van Fleet from the Fires. Okay. Now, people just say that this is a Led Zeppelin cover band, but I like Led Zeppelin, so why would I not like Greta Van Fleet? I mean, I don't know why people dump on these guys so much. They sound like Led Zeppelin. Okay, who cares? Led Zeppelin's good. These guys are good. And not a lot of people are making rock and roll like this, in the 2000s anyway. It's hard to find that sound, from nowadays. So I like them. You should like them too. All right, Psych. Now, this one is the quintessential Psych record, in my opinion. This is the 13th Floor Elevators, Psychedelic Sounds. So, this is kind of what started it all for me on my psychedelic record journey. I streamed this on Spotify, listened to it a million times, was kind of blown away. I was like, whoa, this is not typical, this isn't the Rolling Stones. This isn't, the typical early stuff. This sounds way different, and I loved it. And then this is what really got me going down the Psych rabbit hole. This is an original press stereo on the International Artist label. So this is the same ones like Bubble Puppy and stuff like that. This is, rock from Texas. But these are also very, very rare. And I was super pumped to get a great deal on this one. It's kind of beat up a little bit. It's a VG copy. It's a VG listen anyway. And but I'm completely fine with it. It plays fine. Nothing wrong. So I really, really like this record. And this is kind of what started it all for me. Started my Psych rabbit hole. Prog. I love Prog. You guys know Rush is my favorite band. It was too obvious to pick a Rush album as the representative of Prog, just because I know that I'm going to show a lot of Rush albums as this channel lives on, as we keep going. But so I decided to go a different route. But this is King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King. Classic. Nobody should be surprised that I'm picking this as the Prog representative rather. Incredible Prog. I mean, look at that cover. I mean, you know that as soon as you see that thing, you gotta pick it up. Kanye West, sampled 21st Century Schizoid Man, kind of the chorus of that A1 track on here in some of his songs. So it's this is a great album. This is also a good album that if you're just dipping your toes into Prog, this is not too crazy, highfalutin. It's good, right down the alley. Prog. Next one is metal. So I had a hard time picking between Metallica and Iron Maiden, and I chose Iron Maiden because this album is so good. This Number of the Beast, and I couldn't pass it up. This is a good rep for metal. I was also looking at some Ozzy records, but I don't know. I'm happy with this decision. It was tough, but I'm happy with this decision. Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast is an original press on these cool labels here. But awesome. This is my favorite Iron Maiden record. Really, really good metal. And really just recently, within the last, I'd say, 2 years, I've been getting more and more into metal. Trying to expand my horizons into that area. Funk. This one was a no-brainer. This is one of the easiest ones to pick, really. The representative for funk is Funkadelic Macabrain. This is the original press on that Westbound label. This is the quintessential funk album. I mean, if you want to get into funk, this is it. I have very fond memories of blasting this with the windows down on Spotify, going over the Coronado Bridge, coming from Coronado into San Diego, blasting Can You Get to That? I love that song. It's just, man, it's so good. Start to finish, unbelievable funk album. This is what got me into funk, and definitely my favorite one by far. Okay, jazz. This is another easy one. This is another kind of, I feel like the representative for jazz is going to be Miles Davis, and that record is Kind of Blue. So, I've said many times on the channel that I'm trying to stay away from jazz because I know the rabbit hole that it can go down especially with the blue notes and everything. It gets crazy. But I do have some jazz, obviously. I have some jazz. I like jazz. So this is an original mono on that Columbia 6i, which is pretty cool. I'm typically a stereo guy, but there are some things that I don't. I like mono. I'll show you another one in here that's also a mono that I prefer to have it in mono. But so yeah, I mean, kind of blue. This is incredible. Cannonball Adderley, Paul Chambers, James Cobb, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, Wynton Kelly. I mean, all the greats, all on one record. Miles Davis is the coolest guy, and he's kind of blue. So another obvious choice there, but I think that should be the elected representative of jazz. All right, blues. I was kind of in between Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters just because, and I chose Muddy Waters, folk singer. I was kind of back and forth because, you know, one of the big inspirations of Muddy Waters was Robert Johnson and Son House. I don't have any Son House stuff though. But Muddy Waters is incredible. You know, grew up in Mississippi and, you know, really emulated Robert Johnson and Son House, you know, two kind of Delta blues singers that I really, really, really like. So it was cool that he was so close to them and really trying to emulate them, and then just really exploded the Chicago blues scene, and which is awesome. I'm from Chicago, so or from south suburbs of Chicago, so it's incredible, and I just feel like kind of have a little more, you know, connection with it because he was so important to the Chicago blues scene. Let me see here. Soul. Okay, so here's another mono that I prefer to have it in mono. But for soul records, I don't have a ton. I have some that I really like, but this is, in my opinion, the quintessential soul record, and that is Nina Simone. I Put a Spell on You. So her voice is so powerful and like incredible. This is an original mono on that Philips record. So these are a little hard to get. I mean, these aren't like super common, and you gotta dig around for it. And when you do find them, they're about, I don't know, they're probably like $100, you know, roughly. But it's worth it. It's so good. Every song on here, you know, you put this thing on, lay back, close your eyes, soak it in. Really good soul. Incredible record. Folk. Okay. I already talked about this record a little bit, but one of the best singer-songwriters, in my opinion, Rodriguez, Cold Fact. Sixto Rodriguez. So, you know, I already talked about the documentary, I think in the Vinyl Tag. This is one of my favorite music documentaries, Searching for Sugar Man. And Sugar Man is on this record. And this is the record that got crazy popular in South Africa and Australia when he didn't know that he was popular. But he's a singer-songwriter from Detroit. You know, never made it big, played around the Detroit area, you know, at small gigs, but never made it big, except for in those countries, and he never knew about it until he later found out and started back up his career. This is an original press on the Sussex label. Incredible. To get an original press of this. These are incredibly rare. I mean, killer that I even have a copy of this. Now, cool story about this is I got this record at a steal of a deal because the cover's kind of torched. There was some water damage to it. You can see here it's missing part of the, you know, like the artwork of it here. Clearly this is, you know, got hit with some water at some point, but even though the cover's kind of torched a little bit, the record is VG plus. It's incredible condition, unbelievable. And because the cover was kind of, you know, torn up a little bit, the price of it was it was unbelievable. So I snagged it as fast as I possibly could. I got this sucker on Discogs, I think. But yeah, just, his songs are so good. He's just really incredible singer-songwriter, and this record is so rare and so hard to find an original that I'm so pumped to have that. Really good record. And the very last one is country. Now, I don't have a lot of country records. I will caveat that with this. So, but this is one that I think that, I grew up listening to country in the early 2000s. My family listened to country. So, obviously in car rides and stuff like that, that's mostly what we listened to was country. But that was like 90s country, early 2000s country. I don't really like nowadays country that much. It just has, it's a different sound. They're appealing to a different audience, I think, and just has a different sound. So I don't really like, modern country right now. But, with the exception of this guy, because he reminds me of those early 2000s country singers, and that is Tyler Childers, and this is Purgatory. Tyler Childers, Colter Wall, those kind of guys. I feel like there's kind of like a pack of them that are really kind of bringing that older sound back, and I really like that. That is my favorite kind of country, and this record in particular is incredible. Feathered Indians on this is, that is a good country song, and I hope that this trend keeps going with these kind of guys who are singing these songs, because if they bring country back to this kind of stuff, I'm back in it. So, but yeah, check this out. Tyler Childers, Purgatory. He has like a live unplugged thing on YouTube. Check that one out. He sings "Nose to the Grindstone," just him and a guitar. Incredible. Go YouTube that. Really, really good. But yeah, please check that out. Those are the elected representatives for each genre. Let me know what you think about what I picked for each genre. What do you chose differently? What would you have chosen if you could? And like I said, this is just an opinion. Also, I'm limited by the records that I have. So, I may have chosen differently if I, had some different rare records. But, yeah, so that's it. Please, again, hit the thumbs up on this video. That helps me get the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe. Please subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel. Subscribe to it. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.